Alright guys, it's been about 1 month since I did my first ever how to paint a crankbait video. Since then I've spent a lot more time with the airbrush and I think my skill level has gone from here to here. So hopefully today I can deliver you guys a video on how to paint a crankbait that's a little bit more difficult to do. I've really gotten into this, I enjoy it very much. These custom crankbaits will be for sale very soon on waterwarriorfishing.com, so go visit that if you haven't already, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. But let's do it guys, how to paint my own creation, Copper Cookie.
Young rich niggas. So we ain't really never had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though.
So before we jump into this, I just wanted to give you a little pointer. As a beginner airbrusher, you want to always start with a larger blank until you gather the skill you need to move on to the smaller blanks, because they do require more attention to detail and more skill. Start bigger. Okay, so unless you get a very high quality blank, you're most likely going to need to do some priming work, some initial sanding, just to give your base coat something to adhere to. So I use a very light grit sandpaper block, and I want to sand it down to where it's cloudy like this. Just make sure you're very even in this process. After we get it sanded down nicely, we're going to take some alcohol, put it on a paper towel. We're going to lay the bait in there and let it soak on that alcohol, so you have no particles. Before you guys move on to painting the base coat, make sure you've taped up your bill. Now it's time to do the base white. Heat set after every coat though, make sure you're doing that. That's a really nice base coat. You want it very even, and that looks pretty good. Now we're good to move on. So the next step with Copper Cookie is going to be a black back that extends just to the top of the gill section. If this was a haircut, it would be a high top fade, and you'll see in a minute. So black is a very hard color to work with. If you mess up with black, it's kind of over. So you've got to be very careful. Put your PSI low to start with, and just go slow in sections. That high top fade is almost complete. We're just gonna have to work it down just above that gill line. Getting the right angle is all about how you hold the bait. So not over painting to where it's spraying all over the bottom of the body. That's essential, and that's just all how you hold it. So you'll learn over time how to do that. But so as long as that coat is even, we're ready to move on to the next step. We're going to take the black that's still in the reservoir here, and we're going to put the PSI on the machine down super low so we get a splatter effect. Very nice. That turned out excellent. Now we're going to be doing a gill pattern along the back. So to do that, I've got some items you can find easily wherever you live. If you go to the supermarket and buy, oranges or any sort of produce in a bag, this is the kind of netting that usually comes with it, and I kept it. I bought some chocolate coins back around Christmas time, and this netting came with it, so I kept that as well, and it works. So whatever you can do, and you can also use a shower loofah. Next color we're going to use for the gill pattern is a wine pearl, but essentially it creates a copper color when it goes over this black back. It is absolutely essential to get this netting as close to the body as possible and placed as evenly as possible. So you can see here I've got it very even and it's in close contact with the body, and that just ensures that no paint runs under that netting and gets where it's not supposed to be. And utilize your lighting as much as possible. You want to always be looking at the bait on each side and making sure your paint is evenly applied. And using a lamplight really helps, so I can see that I've got a little bit of a black layer, which is exactly what I want. I've got a little black layer on the side, and then it should be the same on the other side. So we've got just enough, a little bit more wine pearl on the right side, and we're good. And voila, you have a very nice net pattern, a nice gill pattern on the top that extends just above the sides. And that is beautiful. Now we're going to do a pearlized gold on the bottom, and I've applied the same thing, the gill pattern. So we're going to very lightly spray a gold coat. This coat is not meant to be overly visible, it's just a nice little feature on the belly of this bait. Here we go. And the same principle applies. Always make sure you're looking with light, especially to make sure your layers underneath the gill netting are even. That'll do it for this step. Let's pull the netting off and see our beautiful gold gills on the bottom. There we go. Perfect. Nice and subtle. Just a nice feature for the belly. Ooh, she's looking pretty so far. So let's run through what we've done, right? We did the white opaque base. We did a black back that extends down to the top of the gills. Then we did a splatter black all over the body. Then we went back over the top with a wine pearl with the gill net pattern. Then we went over the bottom with a gill net pattern again in gold. Now after all of these steps are completed, I like to take pearlized gold again, and I like to go along that black stripe that we've left on the side. That'll just accentuate it, make it pop a little bit. So I put the PSI pretty low and give it just a light gold dust. Just like that. Real nice and subtle. Same thing on the other side. Oof. That's looking real royal. Alright, so we are almost done with this beautiful bait right here. Copper cookie color shad. We have one more step, and it's a fairly easy step. We just load the gun up with that wine pearl that we did the back with. And I put the PSI on very low, and we're going to do a super light splotching in that white section that still remains. So I kind of messed that up on the bottom. You don't really want as much red as I put, but you get the basic idea. And that is the Copper Cookie Shad. Turned out beautifully besides that last error on the bottom. Essentially you want just that gold gill pattern through the middle, and then a symmetrical wine pearl shade right there and there. And I oversprayed a little bit, so I'm going to fix this off camera. But that's really all there is to it, guys. It's pretty sweet looking, and I can't wait to catch some fish on it. And I'll be delivering these to the website soon so that you guys can catch fish on them too. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. See you next time, guys.